It's always fun winning in the city and winning in this arena. So Fred had made a comment earlier in the series, said this ain't that team. It's that organization though. And we like coming to this city and playing in these situations. It's been good to us.
Oh, he's the perfect villain. Damn, that sucks. I didn't hear that live. I came into the very end of Draymond's press conference after last night's 103-89 season-ending Rockets defeat against the Warriors. They lose the best of 7 series in 7 games. But seeing that after the fact and then hearing it again this morning, yeah, that sucks. Nothing you can really do about it. He's the perfect sports villain.
And what hit me during Game 7 is that he's exactly good enough to get away with this. Where if it was any worse, it would be kind of clownery. If he was any better, it would be like, all right, dude, get over yourself. But he's like the perfect level of like, man, he can back up exactly as much as he talks. He can back up that exact amount. It helps that he has Steph Curry and whatever. But like even his performance last night, I thought he was really good. He made those first 2 threes. I was like, oh my God, here we go. Didn't keep that up on offense, but on defense, he just shut everything down.
I want to know how people feel about this clip from Draymond Green. Because, listen, Green talks a lot of trash. There's no denying that. And sometimes I'm not 100% sure if he believes the trash he's talking. So I'm very curious as to what we all think. I know how I feel about it, but how you guys feel about Draymond saying this about what the Rockets did taking them to 7 games.
Ime, the way he had those guys fighting, I gained a lot of respect for that team throughout this series. One of the tougher series I've played in, personally. But that's a young team to be reckoned with. And I told myself I was going to talk crazy because they have been talking crazy all series and on the internet, but I gained so much respect for those guys. Sengun is an incredible player. The way Fred VanVleet and Steven Adams led those guys, they had no experience, and they led them, took us to the brink. That team's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I hope they understand it. You know, things can change fast in this league. You're only on the up until you're not, you know. But they got something promising that they can continue to build on. Jabari Smith, incredible. He played like a vet this whole series, getting his spots, knocking big shots down.
Use more minutes.
A lot of respect for those guys.
I mean, this is the equivalent of getting not just a pat on the head. This is like a dap up from somebody who I don't think offers respect like this very often, especially when, I don't know, one of the players' mothers is constantly going after him all series long. Tari Eason's mom. Also Tari Eason. I mean, he's right in that there has been a lot of mess talked by the Rockets throughout this series. But he just did say, they got my respect. Do we raise a moral victory banner? Do we raise a have the Warriors respect banner?
94, 95, 2025, earn Draymond's respect.
Earn Draymond's respect. I mean, there's a part of me that feels like that's about as difficult to earn. Not quite as a championship, but as a lot of things are as difficult. There are a lot of things that are difficult in this world. Getting a compliment from Draymond, I would think, is one of them.
Yeah, being a young player getting a compliment from Draymond, being a young European player getting a compliment, getting singled out.
Yeah,
that was big for Sengun. I would like to know. I would just because they talked. All the Warriors guys kind of talked about it without talking about it. Where I would like to know a little bit more of like how playing this Houston team compared to the other Houston teams that they played in the playoffs. Like you said, they've played them 4 times before this. I would like
Harden was a baby back bitch. If Draymond said that, oh my God.
Like,
because my favorite player, Draymond Green.
there is a little bit of truth to that, where the way this Rockets team responded from being down 3-1, like there's two different games where I'm like, this would have gone differently if their best player is James Harden.
For sure. They would have packed it in. Cancun on three.
Even this game, it was what, a 5-point game at the start of the first, or start of the fourth quarter into the third.
Right.
Like, this was a pretty close, at least well-contested game by the Rockets, who could not make a shot
at all. Right. They couldn't even set up.
I'd just like to know, like, obviously, like, the 2018 team is, like, actually the better basketball team. But I do wonder, like, has any Rockets team had the respect the way this one did? Because, again, those teams were better. Some of those teams were better. But I don't know. I didn't feel like a lot of respect was being paid.
More head pats. Here's Steph Curry complimenting the Rockets as well.
I can only speak for myself in the way that that was one of the toughest defenses I think I've ever faced, in the sense of the physicality that was allowed early in the series, and then their commitment to just trying to take away all the patterns that we usually thrive off of and guard me at half court at times. It was wild.
Yeah. All right. Well, some compliments from Draymond, some compliments from Steph Curry. Here's a little more, and I was talking about this in the Twitch because I thought there were some funny points brought up by both Rare Candy and Todd the Show. I mentioned that Draymond Green went out of his way to compliment Jalen Green, who in this series he famously called out for painting his fingernails, implying that makes him, I don't know,
less of a
man.
I was going to say less of a basketball player.
Less of a basketball player, less of a man, whatever. I mean,
there's a generation gap there.
He's calling out his manhood. That's for sure what was happening, even if he wasn't doing it directly there. And those are throwing hands words. And Green never really did that. I mean, Green had the passive-aggressive comment, all Draymond does is talk. No, Draymond plays defense, and you didn't do much the rest of the series, which makes your disappearing act that much worse. At least he's reflective enough to realize I was awful in this series. But both Rare Candy and Todd the Show said this about me mentioning Draymond Green praised Steph Curry. Rare Candy said Draymond wants the Rockets to keep Jalen. And Todd said it's even more embarrassing. Here's what Draymond had to say about Steph Curry, not about Steph Curry, about Jalen Green.
And trying to take him out of this series. We know what they're capable of when he's scoring. And so we really wanted to take him out of the series, and I think we did a good job of it. But like I said, he's a good young player. He'll grow. He'll continue to learn from this. Tough first experience for him, but he's not the first young up-and-coming star to have a tough experience in the playoffs. It won't be the last. I think he'll continue to grow from it. He got a great coach to lead him, great leader to lead him. I think he'll grow from it. I kind of give our guys a lot of credit, and our coaching staff a lot of credit for the game plan.
So do we like that? Or are some people like Eric the Driver, who says, I want everyone to know that I hate Draymond. I think he's a terrible human being. That text from Eric the Driver. Do you hear that from Draymond and you're like, what's he up to? Because I think a lot of people are, wait, he's complimentary of us? What's going on here?
Yeah, no, this one's the one where Draymond, I don't want to say loses me, but that's where I'm like, wait, you're being so complimentary of a guy who went 2 for 8 in a closeout game. Also, it makes me doubt how sincere all the other compliments were. It's like, oh wait, if you're talking about this guy for 40 seconds complimentary, and the most Şengün could get was like, man, he's tough. That's fair. That's where I'm like, wait,
but he hates white Europeans.
That is true.
He complimented him.
The exchange rate on how much he can compliment him. That almost killed Draymond to say that.
Or at least white looking. I listen, I don't know. Okay. I don't see color. Okay. People don't actually me. Okay.
Oh, on Turks or the Turkish people.
I don't know, man.
Listen, we're staying away.
We're staying away from that.
We like Turkey. If you're listening, we like Alperen Şengün. This is a Şengün show.
We are a Şengün show, but we don't necessarily like all of you people. That's where we're at. Okay. If that makes sense. Well, hang on. I mean,
didn't say that.
Some of the
I don't know enough.
Some of the Şengün's fans are a little bit, I don't know, racist.
Oh, the rhetoric. Yeah, I don't like the rhetoric
towards Jalen Green, and are rather let's just say, hypocritical when Şengün gets similar energy, not even necessarily racist. They respond by being absolute psychopaths. Okay. But we like Şengün. I'm not feeling Jalen Green these days. I don't think it's all over for him. I liked hearing the compliments that the Warriors gave him. Draymond was incredibly introspective after this one. He basically did a podcast episode in his media availability. I think he spoke for 30 minutes and said a lot of interesting things. Apparently, he had a big team meeting, and that's the reason the Warriors won.